evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Tait. Welcome to Tuesday Spark. Remember, it's about information, inspiration, and insight. Listen, I'm not trying to tell you what to think. I'm just trying to get you to think. Now, take a moment. I need you to subscribe to my YouTube page. And also, you can subscribe to the Village Church DC YouTube page, too. It's free, so you can keep up with what's going on with us. Right now, I hate to say it, but I am in jail. Facebook jail, that is. But I won't be there for long. But still, we want you to go to YouTube. It's a better platform. Now, listen, tonight, I want to talk about why do you hate us so much? Why do you hate us so much? This is the end of Mental Health Month. And so, I thought about when people hate on you, how it affects you mentally, how it works on your mind, your emotions. I thought about it in a larger perspective, but also thought about it personally. When you have people who hate on you, it wears on you. We call it bullying now, and they do a whole lot of different things. And when I grew up, people will go on your Instagram page, to your Facebook page, Twitter, and they just troll you, follow you, and sometimes say some very hateful things. We know kids have committed suicide because people have hated on them. We know that people go back and forth because of the hate. There's a thing going on now with Kwame Brown, who used to play for the Washington Wizards. He was the #1 pick. He's an African-American guy. He's about, I guess Kwame is about either 6'10" or 6'12". It could be 7 foot. He's a basketball player. He played for some 12 years in the NBA. As far as that goes, he had a pretty successful career. But they've constantly called him for the last. He's been out of the league for at least 10 years, and they constantly called him names. And so he finally got tired of it. And he's going on a tirade now all across the internet. But that's what happens, when people hate on you. Sometimes you just really get tired of it. So I'm just raising the question: why do they hate us so much? So they and us, they're pronouns, and they can represent many groups. And I want you to fill in the blanks without me telling you. But I just raised this question because it seems like there's so much hate, particularly of those who have been deemed as less than human. We've been deemed as 3/5 of a human, so we're like animals. I said, where did that even come from? I mean, we are human, but another group says you're not. They seem to hate us so much that they took our ancestors against their own will from our country and stole the First Nations people's land called Turtle Island and never even admitted to the genocide that was placed on them. So why do they hate us so much? Is it because of our hair? Is it because of our skin color? Why sometimes you can say, sometimes, you can hate yourself. Hate is a strong word. You dislike something. You don't like the way, I don't know, your eyebrows are. You don't like the color of your eyes. You don't like the way your hips are actually shaped. Or certain things, superficial. But some things you don't like about yourself. But hate is a strong word. And you have to ask yourself, why? You think about it. All of these unjust laws and policies and practices and so-called legal business practices, it shows that somehow that we're not very much like black codes and pig laws and unequal treatment of the U.S. categorize every stage of the process. We and other groups like us as well are victimized by disproportionate targeting, unfair treatment by the police and other frontline law enforcement officials. But it just so much prosecution, bargaining decision, plea bargaining. You ever heard of that? You take a plea bargain and you could be innocent because you think you're going to go home tonight. You plea bargain and you end up plea bargaining being guilty, and there's something permanently on your record. But you are convinced because you don't have the money that you can get out of jail and you can go home, but you don't think about the years or the consequence because the system is really uneven. And you think about the judges and the lawyers and the prosecutors and all these people, vagrancy laws and money bail and private bail companies, excessive mandatory minimum sentence. That's like the minimum. So you get these excessive what they call mandatory minimum. So you do something and somebody here, they got 15 to 20 years or 20 years for, I don't know, stealing some carrots out of a store. Something crazy. Wealth based banishment that outlaws low income housing. So, it just on and on. Voter suppression. And, we just started voting and got some citizenship in 1870. And we've been going on. Have you noticed? I don't need to fill in the us in the day. You can fill it in yourself. So why do they hate us so much? I've asked a friend of mine this, and he gave me some answers, but I'm still kind of baffled. Is it what Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, a psychiatrist, was writing about in her first major work, The Cress Theory of Color Confrontation, as an essay in 1974 while as an assistant professor at Howard University? Perhaps she answered some more of why they hated so much in 1991 when she published her most famous work, a collection of essays entitled The ISIS Papers, Keys to the Colors. So why do they hate us so much? You ever thought about that? Just the vitriol. And when I say this, yes, and I said y'all and they, and they're groups of people, yes, who don't really hate us. But when you think about the system and the totality of it, you can't just dismiss them, the others, and say, oh, well, you're not a part of it. You work next to them. A lot of times they will sit in silence while you're being crucified. They know that things are wrong on your job and they won't say anything because, hey, it ain't my business. But they profit by their privilege. And so, but it also creates a sort of a self-hatred, a self-loathing, if you will, a nihilism where you just have no meaning, and an assault on your mental health. Because when you can't measure up because you've gotten these false measurements, there's a sense of you start to hate yourself. You start to think that something is wrong with you because they say, oh, you're not working hard enough. You're not smart enough. You're not intelligent enough. You all really can't think, organized thought. You don't know how to organize yourself. You hear all of this, and somehow we end up embracing a self-hatred because we take on all of this other hatred that's sort of projected at us, and then we end up hating ourselves. Man, it's such a crazy thing. So why do y'all despise us so much? What is it? I just want you to answer it. If you listen to me tonight or any other time, can you answer that question? Why do y'all think that have this attitude of being superior to others? Where does this come from? What is this false narrative? Why do y'all keep feeding it? And you keep doing things to feed it. You don't want to learn about history. You want to start history at certain times. You said, our history doesn't start in 1619. It starts in 1776. The wonderful writer Hannah Jones, who did the 1619 project, now you're demonizing her because you offered her a tenured professorship at the University of North Carolina. Then you withdrew it. Very interesting. And she is well overqualified. And you come up with these bogus reasons why that she doesn't meet a certain. That's not even true because you've given other people tenure with half of her experience. Not only her experience, this lady is major. She is major, but even your own group that's not even included. You ask any poor Appalachian person or poor trailer person or wannabe other person while voting for Mitch McConnell over and over and over again, he says, yeah, wow, you think that you are voting about something that's hurting you, but you think it's hurting somebody else? Wow. And they convince you that it's in your best interest not to have health care. They convince you, that you don't need unemployment insurance. And when you get out of work, where are you going to go and look for help when it's not there because you think that you are hurting other people and you don't know you're caught in a trap? Yeah, it all rests on this reality each day of our lives, from their birth, from their lived experience as a collective, that we were put here to serve them. It's a real interesting thing. And their religion has been complicit in this whole servant thing that we're supposed to be doing. So why do they hate us so much? What do you think? Why is there a need for y'all to hate us? What does that say about y'all? Yeah, listen, do you know the answer? If you do, let me know. Look, have a good evening. God bless.